Venezuela friends, but now let's see who it is coming out. It is Villeneuve. Jacques Villeneuve, the hero of Canada, and I can tell you that the flags are waving and the hands are clapping. He is first out onto the track to qualify for tomorrow's Canadian Grand Prix in a situation where this morning he was 15th fastest. He was, if my memory serves me correctly, 6th quickest yesterday. And by the way, in the BAR team, the second car is occupied here not by Mika Salo, who's been a stand-in driver for the last 3 races in Spain, Monaco and the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, but Ricardo Zonta, the Brazilian who drove in Australia and retired from his first Grand Prix, who had a nasty crash in practice for the Brazilian Grand Prix, as a result of which he tore a ligament, which has taken quite a long time to repair itself. But Zonta is back and going extremely well, considering that he's been out of Formula One for so long. So this is turn 10, where Mika Häkkinen went off this morning, incidentally. Out of it at about 55 miles an hour, and accelerate up through the kink and to a build-up speed of about 195, 200 miles an hour as he approaches turn 12 and 13. You can see from the shimmering picture there how hot it is. It's 43 degrees, the track temperature now. This is the start of the first flying lap that we have had this afternoon, and it's going to be a yardstick for how the rest of them go. Is Villeneuve going to be able to go faster than 1:20.9, which is what he did this morning, as he rolls out of turn 2 up to the right left at turns 2 and 3, about 150 mile an hour approach. Now to the sweeping right-hander at turn 5. This is it. Down into second gear for turn 6. You want to talk us around the rest of it, Mark?
Well, just watching Jacques there locking up a left front, just heavy on the brakes, and of course the tyres may not quite be to optimum working pressures or temperatures, so he's just pushing himself through this lap. Coming up here where I believe it's 8 and 9. Just using a little bit extra track there and actually on the grass, puffing some mud up, but he's going to come down into the hairpin into turn 10, de-accelerate, probably down into second gear, and here he's going to have to be careful. He needs to get on the gas very gently, keep the car balanced, and he needs good exit speed. He needs to carry his speed all the way down that straight, Murray. This is the fastest place on the racetrack.
So his time this morning, 1:20.924. Under the bridge, under the next bridge, down hard, very, very hard on the brakes. It's a tremendously demanding braking circuit. And that's where, incidentally, Villeneuve crashed his car in the year before last, the Williams, to his chagrin. And he's well off the time that he was this morning then, some 2.2 seconds off his time this morning. Doesn't actually matter, because this morning's times did not count for qualifying, and this afternoon's very much do so. So Villeneuve has driven here for Williams, and it was his father, Gilles, who won his first ever Grand Prix in 1978. The hero of Canada, just as his son is, carrying the famous number 27 in the flat 12 Ferrari. And Gilles Villeneuve won that Canadian Grand Prix as long ago as 1978. I don't think it's going to be Jacques' first victory here next year. Tomorrow, stranger things have happened, but not much. And there are the BAR mechanics as into, and this is his third lap then. I'm expecting him to come in at the end of this lap. As Mark has said, they have 12 laps during the 60-minute session. I would frankly like to see them go back to the old days when they have a lot more laps.
It would be good to do that, but 12 laps is what we've got, and that's what they've got to contend with. But I think there's going to be a bit more activity now, Murray. The temperature seems like it's stabilised, but there's that probability that it may get higher. So I think people might go out and try bank a time, put it in there and keep it credited.
18 minutes completed, 42 minutes to go, and to a standstill comes Jacques Villeneuve. Up goes the visor. The mechanics push the cars in, of course. Yes, of course they've got a reverse gear. It takes a long time to select it, but it's so much easier for the
We saw that
mechanics.
situation a couple of years ago when we were here with Olivier Panis. That had some effect on him.
Jacques Villeneuve, well, they're keeping things going. Jacques Villeneuve out on the track now, and he's right down in 19th position now. You remember he was fastest for a time when he first came out. He's on his 6th lap, so he's at the end of his second stint. A bit of speeded up replay there, and Jacques Villeneuve, as you saw on the giant screen, Ralf Schumacher running in. Reminds me of the time when he broke down at Spa in Belgium and had to run practically the whole lap in order to get back to the pits. Jacques Villeneuve coming into the pits. Now, I haven't seen any yellow flags out.
I didn't see any yellows, but I'd be very surprised.
Jacques Villeneuve into the pits. We're leaving Montreal for a few minutes. Join us soon.
Overdrive in the second sector of the lap. The reason for that is because he came across his brother Ralph, touring him very slowly right into the final turn, so it ruined the start of Michael's lap. He was already a 10th down, and I think that's why he lunched it. To update you on the story of the tyres, I think most people seem to have decided they would go with the fresh tyres. So each of these runs these drivers have done, they've been using new tyres and not tyres that have been scrubbed in previously, had a heat cycle put through them.
Jacques Villeneuve having another go, and from 20th on the grid at the moment, 2 places below his teammate Ricardo Zonta at the present moment. Zonta returning to Grand Prix racing, and Jacques Villeneuve is on his 8th out of a permissible 12 laps with 14.5 minutes to go, and it's still Michael Schumacher up there, 0.2 of a second faster than Mika Häkkinen. And it's still Eddie Irvine up there, 0.3 of a second faster than David Coulthard, 4th. Fastest with Fisichella 5th, Frentzen 6th, Barrichello 7th, Jarno Trulli in 8th position. Now the BAR team reckon they've got the speed, as much as they're going to get speed using the Supertec engine, which is a customer engine, unlike the Ferrari engine, the Mercedes engine in the McLaren, the Peugeot engines in the Prost, and the Mugen Honda engines in the Jordan, which are very much manufacturer engines. BAR, like Williams and like Benetton, buy the Supertec engine, and although it's an extremely good power plant, it doesn't produce the ultimate power that the works ones do. And over the line goes Villeneuve, and Louise has got news about Damon Hill.
Yes, once again, Damon's not having the best of weekends. He's not really been on the pace all weekend, certainly not matched the times of his teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen. When he set out for his second run this afternoon, he instantly radioed back in to say that there was a problem with the engine. The car was down on power. So the team, rather than try and find out what that problem is, they've switched him straight into the T car. He's just gone out in that, so keep your eye on his times, Mario. We'll see how he gets on.
Well, he hasn't got very far, Louise, is the answer. We've just seen him at a standstill. He's revved up and got on the move again. But Damon is only 14th at the present moment, with 5 laps completed out of the 12. Under 6 minutes left to go as Jacques Villeneuve comes out yet again. 14th position on the grid at the present moment. He's on his 10th lap. He's got 2 left at the end of this one. Michael Schumacher is fastest. Eddie Irvine is second fastest. Häkkinen and Coulthard are 3rd and 4th.
The crowd are going roaring mad at this moment in time as Villeneuve goes round the hairpin there, Murray. He's certainly got a lot of support behind him at this racetrack.
Oh, he certainly has. A gigantically emotional situation between Villeneuve. He won the Sportsman of Canada award, and he was just presented with it a couple of days ago here in Montreal. And he's coming through now. Is he going to improve? It doesn't look like a particularly impressive lap, and it isn't. He's still 14th, and he's now on his 11th and last but 1 lap, with just under 5 minutes to go. Michael Schumacher preserving his tyres and scoring an enormous psychological plus. He's only done 5 laps compared with Häkkinen's 9, Coulthard's 8. Nobody yet has completed their full 12, although Zanardi is on his last lap now. But Jacques Villeneuve is certainly improving.
He's pushing, he's on his last few laps here. He's actually done his first section time, the quickest of this session for him, but he's going to come up to traffic. And it's just a case of whether he can get by this traffic at the right place.
De La Rosa in the way, and it's, he jinks out from behind him, but he's bound to have lost time. Because even when you're closing up on a car, I think it has a psychological effect on you.
Yeah, I actually don't think the guy gave him a little bit of help there. It would have been nice for him just to back out and get right out of the way, but Villeneuve may be a little bit unhappy about that. Cost him a couple of attempts.
Down to the last sequence of corners, the right and left at turns 12 and 13. Trying to improve on 14th place. He needs to do better than 1:21.3 in order to do so. And Villeneuve is still 14th and is on again. This year, Mika Häkkinen at the very last moment pulling something out of the bag like he did in Spain to go into pole position.
I'm not sure whether they've got it here, Murray. The guy who's sitting in the garage at present is still Michael Schumacher. There's no beads of sweat on his brow. He's extremely cool. They're going to time it to the last before they go out on the racetrack. They want to get that clear lap and just blast everybody off the grid.
You're absolutely right. I remind everybody that provided you have started a lap when the checkered flag goes out, you can complete it and your time will count. It's a thing that the great late Ayrton Senna used to do to perfection. He would time it so that he went across the flag probably just a second or two before it came out, and then everybody else had to come in and Senna would go out and do it. And he had 65 pole positions in his career with both the Ferraris on the track. That's Malcolm Osler on the right, who is the designer of the BAR car. 18 cars on the track, so there's an enormous amount of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot